Hi guys, welcome to my channel. So today I will be showing you how to make a sign or add quotes or words to something without using a silhouette Cameo. And for years and years I did this. Of course I would never go back to these methods since I have the Cameo. It saves me a lot of time and I feel like I can do a better job with the Cameo. But it is totally possible. I sold a lot of signs and I made some good money just by using these methods here, and I did eventually save up enough money to go and buy the Cameo. So I will be showing you 4 different methods on how I've done this over the years. I know there's many other good ways out there. It's not that I know the best ways or whatever, but this is what kind of worked for me. But before I get into that, guys, I am curious, are any of you that live in a cold area as ready for spring as I am? I have some serious spring fever, and of course this week is that first day of spring. I'm always so excited for that. I realize we will still have some cold weather here in Ohio, but I just love March and just those first signs of spring. I'm waiting for the Eastern Phoebe. She should come any day, and I can't wait to hear her sing. And then of course in the evening we have the spring peepers, and we sometimes hear a woodcock down by the creek. All signs of spring. We get wood ducks on the pond. I just can't wait for those things. So let me know in the comments below what you guys look forward to and what your first signs of spring are in your area. I want to show you guys the outside just so you can hear how the birds are singing. I always think that's about the first sign of spring, is when they sing more or just a little different. You hear woodpeckers drumming. So without further ado, let's get to it. So the first method I'll show you here is probably the easiest one. It's just simply using stencils, very self-explanatory. So the paint I'll be using is Kills chalk paint, just something I had on hand here. Toasted poppy seed is the color. And you can either brush it on, or I always like to use these little spouncer things from Walmart. So for this technique, I will be using foam letters, and I quickly made this pillow cover this morning using drop cloth fabric. And I'm planning on adding the word Cottage onto here. So I think I probably should have gotten letters, foam letters that aren't the adhesive kind, but since that's all I have on hand, I'm going to go ahead and use them. And of course I will have to glue these onto my box here, which this is kind of my holder for my word. I can't get all the letters on at once, so I'll probably just go ahead and do maybe 3 or 4 letters to begin with. I'm planning on gluing them onto here and then painting the other side here and kind of using this as a stamp. This will probably make more sense as I go here. So as you can see, some of the letters are a little bit faded here, especially the middle ones here. So I think what I can do is maybe just peel this off and just reapply my paint. If I don't use the box, I'll have more control on where this letter will end up going here. So honestly, I've never used a box before, but I thought it would be neat to have the whole word on one, stamp. But this will work too. You can always fill in the letters too with, just using the paintbrush. But I think for this look, it actually looks good on drop cloth if it's a bit faded. So this technique is probably the one I use the most. It's using carbon paper. I liked it because I was able to choose any fonts I had on my computer, to use for my design. There are, of course, different programs you can use to, design something, but I always just use Microsoft Office Word. That worked well for me. I have since installed a publisher on my computer, so I might actually be using that today. So I did order some carbon paper from Amazon and it hasn't arrived yet, so I will just be using my old carbon paper that I've had for years. Hopefully it'll still work. It looks pretty, almost worn out here, but hopefully I'll still be able to get some black to, transfer onto my wood here. And I will link all this stuff below, carbon paper, some paint markers that I'll be using. So I usually lay out my words the way I want them to be and then tape them down. And the reason for this different color L here is I wanted this L to be larger than the rest of the word. So I did it, separately. It was just easier with that program to do that. And I printed it out with a light color because usually that is the way I do it to save on ink. And I kind of forgot about that when I printed out my other things here. So what I want to do here is slide this carbon paper between the top paper here and my wood, and I want to make sure I have the correct side turned down. You can always test on a small area just with your fingernail just to see if it's transferring onto your surface. Trust me, I've done whole signs like this without realizing my carbon paper was turned the wrong way, so it's worth it to check. And basically you just trace the words with a pen or a pencil. Showing you guys is the parchment paper method. I have done it before in my videos, not that the focus was on that, but where I did a project that I used parchment paper to apply an image or words to something. But I will show you again What I have here is a little stool that I picked up at a garage sale for $5. It was just a natural, wood finish. I did paint it white. What I'll be doing is taking a piece of parchment paper that is the exact same size as a piece of copy paper, 8.5 by 11, and I'll be taping it to the copy paper to run it through my printer. And the reason I'm doing that is I have had a bad experience with just running the parchment paper through by itself. I used to do that all the time until one time it jammed up and it plugged up my whole printer. I had a hard time getting it out. So for me, it's just worth it to tape it onto something, a little stiffer, so it'll run through, more smoothly. So with this method, you have to remember to reverse your image or words. I chose to go with a French design. So as I'm waiting on this design here, I want to make sure I have everything ready. This ink will dry, kind of quickly, so you have to kind of get to work on it. I always like to use the end of a marker to rub this ink, onto my surface. So that's basically what I'm doing here is, transferring the ink that is on the parchment paper here onto my wood seat. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and are maybe inspired to make your own sign using one of these methods. It does, take some time, but it's not that hard to do. I'm sure you guys can do it too. And as always, thank you so much for watching my videos. I really, really appreciate it. And I will see you in the next video. Bye!